Hey everybody, thanks for coming by the garage. We got the rear fascia off and we're going to be changing out taillights today. Yeah, so why am I changing out the taillights? You know, when I first saw this, Gen 5 Camaro was in the movie Transformers, like most people. I thought, you know what, those taillights look pretty good. Give it a little bit of Corvette look. You know, it's kind of a take on the Corvette. And then when the 2014 came out, I was like, what did they do that for? And, you know, I bought this car because of the condition it was in. And, you know, red. I also like black. But the taillights were the last thing on my mind. They've kind of grown on me. I think they look pretty good in the dark when they're all lit up because they're LED. But during the day, I still don't like them as much as the old ones. So we're gonna swap them out for some 6th gen. They do have the C8 ones out now, but for the price that they want for the sequentials, over $800. That's crazy to me. Even the non-sequential C8 taillights are still almost $600. I think I got these for around $4. So these are sequential. We're going to be taking these out. If you want to see the video on the fascia removal, it'll be either, I don't know, linked up in one of these corners, or if I can't do that, I'll put it at the end of the video. Anyway, let's get going on these. So this is actually really easy. The only real reason you have to take the fascia off is just the way they have it so it won't come out. This is actually only held on with 2 screws. This 7mm and this 7mm. These 10mm down here are for the metal frame. So we're just going to take these out, and then the tail light will come right out. It's starting to rain. Okay. So now that this is out, you can see the connector here. And there's a red portion right here. You want to push in on this till that red piece kind of pops out. Like that. Once this red piece pops out, the connector will come off. It can be difficult though. There it goes. Well, looking into it, these 2 bolts that you saw here, I took them out just to kind of clean under here because I don't want dirt under the wires and stuff. But this is actually held on with rivets. There's a rivet here and a rivet under here. You would have to drill them out if you wanted to remove this. We don't need to remove it, so I just wanted to get under it because there's so much dirt under the wire there. And then something else I wanted to show you guys was the clips right here. When you pull your taillights out, pay attention to these clips because they're really loose. They look like this kind, speed nut, I think is what they're called. So they go on this way. There's one there, and there's one there. I found one of them back here and one of them on the ground. But there is a little bit of trick. You can tighten them up. You can use pliers if you want. I just like using these. I just take it like that, and I just squeeze it. I'm not trying to cut into it. I just squeezed it tight. You can see it closed it up. And now, takes a piece of my glove with it. Now they go on nice and tight. So on the old taillight, there's a bumper clip attached to it. You'll need to remove that. It's held on with 3 T15 Torx bits. You just want to take those out. and transfer them to the new lights. So here's the new taillights. This is the back side of them. You can see it's got a few different options for connectors, depending which one your car has. We're going to be using this one. And then there's also an option whether you want your turn signal to be sequential. Yeah. If you want it to be that way, you just disconnect this one. So this 6th gen taillight. These are smoked with the red. I didn't want the white just because the car is red. Now we still need to put the bumper bracket on there, and it goes in these 3 spots here. So these lights are from Hero, and looking at this plug a little bit better, it's the same as the one that the car uses. When you push those red tabs in, you're actually going to pull on this, and it'll cam the it'll actually cam the connector out. You don't even have to pull on it. This is the first time I've seen these connectors, so seeing it pushes it right back in for you. Just cams it in and out. So we're going to leave that disconnected because this one's going to go to the car harness, and then we're going to disconnect this to get sequential, and we're going to tuck all this into where the cover is. I wish they would have given some sort of weatherproofing for this, but I suppose it doesn't matter. Well, I guess we'll see. So on the taillight, there's this metal pin. That's got to go into this grommet here. And there's also a plastic one, and that's going to go into this hole over here. Just helps to line it up. Now these are pretty tight, so you may have to move them a little bit to get the taillight to sit the way you want. It just pulled it right in. I don't know how much better that is. It's really hard to see on the little GoPro screen. So I made sure this harness was on this side of this bracket. It was wanting to flip over here. I'm just going to pull all this through because there's no room for it over here anyway. You'll figure that out. There it goes. And the same with the little sequential wires. I'm going to try to get those through too. That way if I ever want to change it, all I have to do is take off this plastic cover and plug it back in. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not. It's sequential. It looks good, but you know, things get old. Alright, so I'm going to line up the silver pin. There it is. I'm going to line up the black pin. This one's a little harder to push, and it holds it. I'm just going to put the 2 screws in here. These are just speed nuts. I've got a crank on, just hand tight like that. Okay, just so you guys are aware, the brake lights weren't working because I didn't have the bumper connected, and they have a warning with the Hero lights that if you have LEDs, anything other than OEM, you may have some issues with the lights working properly. I have regular incandescent for my turn signals on the bumper, so that may have been the resistance it needed. I'm not quite sure. I know there's a slight delay when you press on the brake compared to when the lights come on. Very short, about a half a second, but you know what, if somebody's going to run into you, that half a second would have been nice to have. I also noticed the reverse lights weren't coming on, and I'm not quite sure if what's going on there. I know the whites work. They just weren't coming on when I put the shifter into reverse, and I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Everything else looks fine, so I'm going to go ahead and put the fascia back on, and If there's any problems with the wiring, we should be able to get it from here. But I wanted to test it with the fascia off in case I needed to remove the tail lights to send them back. All the LEDs work, and let me get it buttoned up and show you what it looks like all put together.